Hey guys, how's it going today? So what am I working on now? Well, I don't know if you saw that short clip where I showed this Camaro that I'm sitting in. It's a 95 Camaro Z28. It's a 6-speed, 5.7. It's a factory T-top car. And I got the car from my son. My son got it from my cousin. My cousin passed away after. And my son had this thing for a while, and he really didn't do much of anything with it because he just didn't have the place for it or anything like that. And he wound up giving it to me, and he said, I can't do anything with this car. He's going to nursing school and stuff like that. He just doesn't have the time for it. So he gave it to me. Now, one thing my son had told me several times, while he was driving it for the year or whatever it was, he said, man, this thing's got low oil pressure. He goes, is that something I should worry about? I said, well, does it really have low oil pressure? He says, I don't know. So I don't know if you know about 95 Z28s, the engine's stuffed underneath the cowl. They're a nightmare to work on. Once they went to the LS motor, much better vehicle. These 5.7s are a nightmare. I don't know if you know it, the distributor is actually behind, sandwiched in between the timing cover and the water pump. Oof. The water pump's driven by the camshaft. A lot of people said it was an electric water pump. It's not. It's driven by the camshaft. It sticks out through the timing cover, and it actually has a drive attached to it that drives the backside of the water pump, which goes through the distributor. It's a real whacked out system. These things are just a nightmare to do anything to. But, so I got the car, and I was driving it around, and I was like, man, this thing really does have low oil pressure. And it started getting worse. So I was like, So I went and I changed the oil. And darn it, it got even worse. Now it's knocking. So let's start it up. Let's listen to it. You may not be able to hear it there. I hear it. I don't hear it right at this moment, but I hear it. Especially when you rev it up. Which I don't want to rev it up and blow the motor apart. Because right now, this motor is still technically usable. I'd be willing to bet the bearings are just wiped out. I could probably take this thing apart and put a set of new bearings in it. To pull the motor out of these things, you got to drop everything out through the bottom. Whole front, like the front cradle. I believe you got to take the whole front suspension, struts, and everything else out all in one shot. Transmission comes out with it. It's not fun. I've done one. Not fun. So, as you saw in that video, that short, I mentioned Pop-Up Shop. I'm going to be starting another channel called Pop-Up Shop. At least I believe that's what it's going to be called. And basically on that, I'm going to do hot rod stuff. But that channel's going to be, it'll probably be like a video a week type situation, depending on what I get accomplished. I'm still going to be doing wrenching with Kenny. That's still going to be, I'm going to try to get stuff done on a daily basis. But that's what I'm going to try to do with that channel. This is going to be part of that channel. What I want to do with this car is I'm going to take the drivetrain out of it, and I'm going to probably put like a 5.3 in it. Since these things came with an LS motor, putting a 5.3 is just a natural swap for this car. Not a big deal. So I figured, you know what? Let's do that. And I started thinking, how about I make a bracket car out of it? Maybe I'll actually make it an automatic. I'll use this transmission for another project. I mean, it's a 6-speed, it's a good tranny. Maybe I'll use it for something else. But while this thing's running, let's listen, see if you can't hear the knock, and let me show you the motor. All right, here. As you can see, this thing has been sitting around quite a while. But it's an LT1 motor. And as you see, that's the water pump right there. Let's see if you can see the distributor on this thing. Oh, you can't even see it. Hold on. You can actually see the coil wire. Oh, no, that's actually not the coil wire. I'm sorry. That's a vacuum line, I believe. No, hold on. I'm all mixed up here. That is the coil wire. That's the coil there. That's the coil wire going down to the distributor. That's behind the water pump. Not fun to work on. I did a tune-up on one of these things one time, and I was not happy. Let's put it that way. You got to do just about everything from underneath. You can't even get to the plugs from up top. How do you get the plugs up here? You can maybe get to one. My arms are not sitting down there. especially on this side. But an LS motor in one of these things is a much easier situation to work with. But that's what I'm thinking of doing. If I put a 4L80 behind a 5.3 with maybe some nitrous, just make it like a consistent bracket car. Up here, Roxborough Dragway is very close to where we're at. So it's kind of a natural, you know, have that as like a home track and, you know, just have it as a bracket car. A car I can drive to the track. My wife can drive to the track. My 16-year-old grandson can drive the car to the track. You know, and race it. Not something that has to be super fast, but just something to have fun in. That's all I want to do is have fun with the car. But let's see if we can hear the knock. All right, let me see if I can't rev it up and you can hear the knock. All right, so. All right, not sure if you could hear that, but there is a definite knock there. It does have some what's called piston slap too. That goes away as it gets warmed up, and then the rod knock takes over even more. Once this thing's hot, it's very, very prevalent. But yeah, so this motor's gonna come out, transmission come out, and we're gonna do that. But if you have an engine that's knocking, that means you have wear in the bearing. Usually. Well, pretty much every time. And what happens is you have a connecting rod that sandwiches around the journal of a crankshaft. I wish I had something to actually show you that I can explain this better with. Maybe I can grab a piece of pipe or something. Hang on a second. Being at my daughter's farm and I have nothing here, it's kind of difficult, but let me show you this. Maybe you'll understand what I'm trying to say. So picture this tube as a journal of the crankshaft, and this thing's going to spin around like this, and a connecting rod's going to be attached like this. Connecting rod, as this thing's spinning and doing this, the connecting rod's going to go up and down, making the piston go up and down. Now, in the journal, you have two halves of a bearing, and it's not a bearing in the way you think. It's more of like a bushing. Basically, it slides on the crankshaft. So as that thing rotates, it slides with it to allow it to go up and down while it rotates. You can find videos on this. I'm not going to go nuts trying to explain it. But as the bearings wear out, you get more and more slop. So now as the piston goes up and then the crank starts to rotate, it may slam like this. And it could just be thousandths of an inch. But over a period of time, that thousandths of an inch makes a big difference. Think about the load that's on that. When you put that kind of a load on the connecting rod end cap, you know, it just eventually it beats it up. And I don't know if you guys saw the picture of or the video I made of that Mustang that locked the motor up as it snapped the connecting rod. Stuff like that is what happens. It beats around so bad, it's, you know, bang, 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 and then after a while, something has to let go. But yeah, anyway, so that's going to be an upcoming project. Just thought I'd show that to you, explain a little more about the car. And the regular mechanical stuff I will show you on Wrenching with Kenny. And the other stuff, like I said, I have a new channel I'm going to be starting, Pop-Up Shop, and it's going to be on that. So anyway, that's about it. If you're getting anything out of my videos, hit that like button. If you could, please subscribe. All right, guys, have a great day. Keep wrenching. Oh, actually, real quick before I go, it's getting noisier now. I want you to hear it. Hear that rap like at the very end of when it revs up? That that's too much play in one of the rods. It's banging around. If you let it go too long, you'll distort the connecting rod, and you can't just put bearings in it. You know, then you'll have to rebuild it. I'll have to mic the crankshaft, mic the connecting rod to make sure that the opening is the correct size, put bearings in it, and then put plastic gauge in there, just make sure all the clearances are correct before I slap it back together. But once it's out, then I'll do that, but that's months away, months away. So anyway, that's it. Have a great day and keep wrenching.